You can see the straight lines here, but you can also see a hole.
I've got 3,200 psi each side.
Deep beneath the surface of our planet's vast and mysterious ocean lies a world shrouded in darkness and secrecy. Recently, brave explorers and adventurers have ventured into these uncharted depths, uncovering bone-chilling discoveries and unlocking the secrets of the sea, from monstrous sea creatures to ancient ruins and even evidence of extraterrestrial life. These recent discoveries will make your heart race and your palms sweat. So join us as we unravel 15 of the most terrifying things that were recently discovered underwater. Number 15. Strange creature of the Arctic. Let's start with this puzzling and mind-gripping story about a group of naval divers who encountered something bizarre while on a routine dive in the Arctic. The divers were on a routine mission in the Arctic exploring the deep waters for any signs of unusual activity. They had been in the water for a while and everything seemed to be going smoothly until one of them noticed something strange nearby. At first they thought it was a seal, but as they approached it, they realized it was something entirely different. The creature had pale white skin and a humanoid shape with arms resembling flippers. Its eyes were dark and had a protective layer like a shark's. It moved gracefully through the water and divers could tell it was entirely comfortable in its environment. But what was it? None of the divers had ever seen anything like it before. As they attempted to move closer to the creature, it suddenly dived into the depths, disappearing from sight. The divers were left speechless and confused, not knowing what they had just witnessed. It was clearly something that wasn't commonly encountered by humans. But stories of aquatic humanoids have also emerged from Japan, where locals have named them ningens. These creatures are said to be between 10 and 40 feet long with fins or mermaid-like tails instead of legs, and have their eyes and mouth as their only observable facial features. According to one similar report from Japan, crew members on a ship observed what they thought was a submarine in the distance, but as they got closer they realized that it was a biological entity, a ningen. When these humanoids are noticed, they quickly disappear from sight, making photographing or recording them challenging. They are also only encountered at night, which adds to their mystique. These mysterious creatures are likewise excellent at blending with their environment, which makes them even harder to spot. Researchers have now suggested that a large population of ningens could lurk in places like the Arctic, given that it's not often visited by humans. The discovery of this strange and mysterious creature has now opened up new questions about unknown creatures lurking beneath the ocean's depths, waiting to be discovered by humans. Number 14. UFO-shaped object in the Baltic Sea. Are you ready to plunge into the murky depths of the Baltic Sea? If you are, you want to hold onto your hats for this one. In 2014, an object that looked like a UFO was discovered in the Baltic Sea, which sparked much curiosity and speculation. Could it be that extraterrestrials actually visited us? If so, how did their UFO end up in the deep waters of the Baltic Sea? However, despite the excitement around the discovery, scientists and researchers have concluded that the object is not a UFO. So what was it then? Well, according to these experts, it was simply a disc-shaped piece of rock. The origins of this mysterious rock are still shrouded in mystery, and there are whispers that it might be related to a meteor. Imagine that, a piece of the universe right here in our own backyard. Even though this object may not be of extraterrestrial origin, the fact remains that the depths of the Baltic Sea hold countless secrets and untold mysteries. And who knows what other enigmatic objects or even undiscovered life forms might be hiding the dark recesses of the ocean floor. Number 13. Giant isopod. When we think of underwater creatures, we usually imagine colorful and fascinating marine life, but what if we told you that lurking in the depths of the ocean is a creature that looks like it came straight out of a horror movie? Yes, we're talking about the giant isopod. These creatures may be related to the humble pillbug, but don't be fooled, the giant isopod is anything but harmless. With their armored exoskeletons and pincers, they look like something that could take down a small submarine. And if their size up to 2.5 feet long doesn't scare you, then their diet certainly will. Giant isopods are scavengers that feed on the rotting carcasses of dead whales, squid, and fish. If you happen to come across a group of giant isopods during your ocean explorations, you may be in for a scare. These creepy crawlies have a talent for blending into their surroundings, curling up into a ball and blending into the sandy seabed. Despite their terrifying appearance and appetite, however, giant isopods are completely harmless to humans, so there's no need to panic if you happen to come across one. But still, the thought of these giant armored creatures lurking beneath the surface is enough to make you think twice about diving into the ocean. Number 12. Marine flatworm consumes prey. Now, this is one creature that's sure to send chills down your spine if you're ever to come in close contact with it. In fact, if aliens did exist, they might look something like this. Photographer Kurt Cuba Hug captured footage of this monster while he was exploring the depths of the Philippines. The creature in question is a flatworm, but don't let the name fool you. This isn't your average worm, this is a ferocious predator that can take down prey much larger than itself. It may look like a blob, but don't underestimate its abilities. What's most interesting about this creature is that it has no respiratory or circulatory organs. Instead, it relies on diffusion to breathe in oxygen. Its flattened shape allows oxygen and nutrients to flow through its body, keeping it alive and deadly. Some species of flatworm even have the amazing ability to regenerate their entire body if they get chopped in half. Just imagine that. This particular marine flatworm was caught in the act of devouring a crab at low tide. It has a digestive tract that has a branch-like gut that circulates nutrients from its prey throughout its entire body. This is what makes it such a fierce predator and a creature that humans should be wary of. Can you imagine if this creature were big enough to attack humans? It's enough to give you chills. The thought of encountering a creature like this while swimming in the ocean is enough to make you never want to go near the water again. Number 11. Underwater locomotive graveyard. New Jersey is famous for a lot of things. Its iconic diners, Atlantic City, and the birthplace of Frank Sinatra, to name a few. But what sets it apart is the eerie locomotive graveyard found deep in the sea. Let's set the scene. The year was 1985 and 2 trains were discovered lying at the bottom of Long Branch's ocean floor. But the mystery doesn't stop there. The model of these trains indicated that they belonged to the 1850s, and there was no record of them ever being built or reported missing. It's almost like they fell off the face of the earth, only to be discovered underwater centuries later. The locomotive graveyard has fascinated scientists and historians for decades, prompting many theories about how the trains ended up at the bottom of the ocean. Some suggest the trains were being transported on a barge when it capsized in a storm, while others believe that they were deliberately thrown into the ocean to avoid sinking the barge. However, the most chilling theory is that the trains were intentionally thrown into the sea to dispose of evidence related to a crime. This theory has fueled many people's imaginations and led to rumors of treasure and long-forgotten crimes. But here's the thing, despite being underwater for over 160 years, these locomotives are still well preserved. They're covered in rust, but the details of their design are still visible, a testament to the power of the sea to preserve even the most ancient artifacts. The locomotive graveyard remains a mystery to this day, with no definitive answers as to how or why these trains ended up at the bottom of the ocean. Number 10. The Statue of Jesus in Lake Michigan. The giant statue of Jesus at the bottom of Lake Michigan is not just a story, it's a true marvel that has captured the imagination of many. Imagine the feeling of diving deep into the icy waters of the lake, surrounded by nothing but darkness, and then suddenly you catch a glimpse of something glimmering in the distance. As you swim closer, you realize that it's a giant cross made of white marble, stretching 11 feet in length. And then you see him, the life-size statue of Jesus, laying on the cross as if in eternal slumber. The story of how this statue ended up at the bottom of Lake Michigan is even more intriguing. The family who had ordered the statue had suffered an unspeakable tragedy, losing their young son in a terrible accident. They commissioned the statue as a way to honor his memory, but when it arrived in the US, it was damaged beyond repair. Most people would have given up at this point, but not the diving teams who saw the potential of the statue. They recognized the significance of the statue and knew that it would make a perfect memorial for the divers who had passed away exploring the waters of Lake Michigan. So they bought the statue and lowered it into the depths of the lake, where it has remained ever since. As you swim around the statue, you can't help but feel a sense of reverence and awe. It's become more than a statue, and it's now a symbol of hope, faith, and resilience. Number 9. Trees getting swallowed by underwater sinkhole. In Louisiana, a massive and enigmatic sinkhole has emerged, creating havoc in its wake. The sinkhole, which appeared in Bayou Corn, has been dubbed the Grand Canyon of Louisiana due to its size and scale. This behemoth hole has been gobbling up everything in its path, including an entire forest. The footage of this underwater sinkhole has gone viral, and it's not hard to see why. In the video, you can witness the incredible power of nature as 40-foot cypress trees are consumed in a matter of seconds. The sight is both awe-inspiring and terrifying at the same time. According to reports, this sinkhole was caused by a collapsing salt mine. As a result, it has created an environmental disaster in the area, with an entire town being forced to evacuate their homes. The sinkhole has caused approximately $12 million worth of damages and continues to wreak havoc on the surrounding area. Local residents have claimed that it all started with a peculiar smell of diesel, followed by mysterious gas bubbling up to the surface of the swamp. Since then, the sinkhole has been growing steadily, swallowing everything in its path, including these towering trees. To make matters worse, rumors have circulated that officials don't even know the exact depth of the sinkhole. In fact, a measuring cord reaching 750 feet in length was not enough to reach the bottom of this ominous hole. The thought of not knowing how deep this sinkhole could be is enough to send chills down anyone's spine. The impact of this sinkhole is nothing short of catastrophic, and the people of Bayou Corn have been left reeling in its aftermath. Number 8. Ghost ships in North Korea. The ocean is a vast, unforgiving wilderness that has claimed countless lives throughout history. For every ship that reaches its destination safely, there are countless others that are lost to the waves. These vessels become the haunting remnants of a forgotten past, doomed to wander the seas forevermore. The broken shells of these ships are scattered across the ocean floor like the bones of some ancient leviathan. Some are still recognizable, the ghostly echoes of their former glory. Others have been twisted and contorted by the relentless currents, their true shape lost to the depths. And yet some of these lost ships refuse to remain silent. They become ghost ships haunting the waters that they once traversed. But the most chilling of all are the ghost ships of North Korea. These vessels have become a symbol of the desperation and isolation that grips the reclusive nation. The North Korean fishermen who set sail in search of food and prosperity are often ill-equipped and unprepared for the dangers of the sea. As a result, many of these ships vanish without a trace, leaving nothing behind but a haunting mystery. Some believe that these ghost ships are the result of the North Korean regime's strict control over its people. With limited access to food and resources, the fishermen are forced to venture further and further out to sea in search of sustenance. But with no means of communication or rescue, they are left to drift helplessly, their fate unknown. For those who seek adventure and thrills, the ghost ships are a tantalizing mystery. But for those whose loved ones have been lost at sea, they're a haunting reminder of the dangers that lurk in the ocean's depths. Number 7. Florida Toxic Red Tide. This menacing red tide may be silent, but its effects can be heard loud and clear. It starts with a slight discoloration of the water, which gradually turns into a dark, blood-like hue. The algae responsible for this dangerous phenomenon release toxins that can cause paralysis and even death in sea creatures and humans alike. The red tide is a force to be reckoned with, lasting for weeks and decimating entire ecosystems. Its effects ripple through the food chain, with fish and other sea creatures ingesting the poisonous algae and passing it on to predators like dolphins and sharks. The red tide can even affect human health, causing respiratory issues and other illnesses for those who come into contact with it. But perhaps the most haunting aspect of the red tide is its eerie silence. It can arrive on the shores without warning, and once it takes hold, there is little that can be done to stop it. Even the foam that washes up on the beach can be deadly, melting away the feathers of unsuspecting birds and causing them to drown in the toxic water. Despite its deadly nature, the red tide has a certain allure that draws in scientists, artists, and adventurers alike. It's a natural phenomenon that inspires awe and fascination, even as it destroys. Number 6. Zombie worms. The zombie worm, with its delicate frills and feather-like appearance, appears almost ethereal at first glance. It's the kind of creature you'd expect to find flitting about in a magical fairy tale forest, rather than lurking in the depths of the ocean. But don't let its dainty exterior fool you. The zombie worm is a true horror story, feasting on the rock-hard bones of anything and everything it comes across, including the giant carcasses of whales. The zombie worm uses its sharp, serrated teeth to tear through the outer layer of the bone, but it doesn't stop there. This little creature is determined to get to the good stuff, so it secretes a powerful acid that helps it break down the bone and access the rich, nutrient-dense contents inside. Once the zombie worm has broken through the bone's defenses, it gets to work converting the bone proteins into fat and nutrients that become its food. It's a macabre process that only the hardiest of creatures could stomach, but the zombie worm is built to handle it. And with little feathery branches that wiggle on the water, the zombie worm pulls in oxygen to keep itself alive. It's a delicate balancing act that requires just the right amount of oxygen to keep the zombie worm going, but this tiny creature is more than up to the task. And while it might seem like the zombie worm is a terrifying creature that's just waiting to devour any living thing that crosses its path, the truth is that it wants nothing to do with us. The females only grow to be about 2 inches long, while the males are microscopic, so unless you're a whalebone, you're safe from the zombie worm's clutches. Number 5. Floating Spaghetti Monster. The workers who first spotted this creature were in awe of its size. It measured almost 50 feet long, making it one of the largest creatures ever discovered in the depths of the ocean. Its spaghetti-like appearance was not the only thing that made it creepy. It seemed to move in a way that was both fluid and jerky, as if it were constantly shifting and changing its shape. The Bathyphysa conifera, as the creature was later identified, was not a creature that was easy to study. For one, it lived in complete darkness, where even the slightest bit of light could damage its fragile structure. Additionally, it was incredibly delicate. Any sudden movement could cause it to disintegrate into a cloud of zooids. Marine biologists who studied the creature were amazed by what they found. They discovered that this creature was not just a random collection of zooids, it was a highly organized and complex creature, with each zooid playing a crucial role in its survival. Some of the zooids acted as sensors, detecting even the slightest changes in the surrounding water. Others were responsible for hunting and capturing prey, while still others were in charge of digestion. Despite its otherworldly appearance, there was something undeniably peaceful about the creature. And for all its strangeness, it was clear that this was a creature that had found its place in the world. And luckily that place is far from human eyes. Number 4. 2,400-year-old boat in the Black Sea. In 2018, a remarkable discovery was made that changed the course of history forever. Archaeologists stumbled upon the world's oldest shipwreck in the Black Sea, just off the Bulgarian coast. The ship is believed to be a Greek merchant vessel that dates back 2,400 years, making it the most ancient boat ever discovered. What's even more astounding is that the ship is completely intact, making it the most pristine and well-preserved shipwreck in the world. The boat is 23 meters long, and due to the lack of oxygen at the depths it was found, the rowing benches, mast, rudders, and other elements are perfectly intact. For researchers, this was a dream come true. The level of preservation is unparalleled, allowing them to study the boat and its contents in greater detail than ever before. They were astonished to find that the ship closely resembled the vessels depicted on ancient Greek wine vases, leading them to believe that this was a vessel from a whole new world. The discovery of this shipwreck is more than just a chance to study history, it's a window into the ancient world. The boat is so well preserved that it feels like a time machine, transporting us back to the era of ancient Greece. Number 3. Terrifying mud volcano inferno. Mud volcanoes aren't your average geological formations, they are a real wonder of nature. It's amazing to think that out of the 1,000 mud volcanoes in the world, almost half of them, around 400, can be found in Azerbaijan, which is often referred to as the land of fire. These unique mud volcanoes are capable of producing some truly awe-inspiring displays of nature's power. When they erupt, it's a sight to behold. Massive pillars of fire and flames can shoot hundreds of feet into the air, creating an otherworldly spectacle that is as beautiful as it is terrifying. But what's even more incredible is that the eruptions are caused by the enormous reserves of natural gas and oil in the area. This means that there's really no end in sight for these explosive shows. And as mesmerizing as they may be to watch, it's probably not the best idea to be anywhere near them. If you're thinking about taking a leisurely sail in the Caspian Sea, you might want to think again. You could find yourself in the middle of a raging mud inferno in no time. These eruptions can be dangerous and unpredictable, and nobody wants to be caught off guard when nature decides to put on a show. Number 2. Flooded Chinese City. Deep in the vast oceanic expanse of the East China Sea lies an ancient underwater city that was deliberately flooded by the Chinese government. This remarkable city is a stunning reminder of the magnificent civilization that thrived there over 1,300 years ago. The city is located at a depth of 26 to 40 meters below the sea surface and covers an area of nearly 60,000 square meters. Despite being submerged for centuries, the city's stunning architecture and intricate carvings are still beautifully preserved. The walls are adorned with ornate carvings of dragons, phoenixes, and other mythical creatures, while guardian lions stand proudly in front of many buildings, their stone bodies still imposing even after being submerged for so long. And thanks to the efforts of one official in charge of tourism, this submerged city has become a popular spot for tourists. The Beijing Diving Club was invited to explore the underwater streets of the city, and soon it became a go-to destination for adventurous divers seeking a glimpse of ancient China. The city offers plenty of opportunities for divers to immerse themselves in its history. In fact, a special submarine was constructed specifically to provide tourists with a guided tour of the underwater metropolis. The ancient city is a true marvel of history and a testament to the incredible achievements of China's past. Number 1. Rusted vintage cars. The Foss Lake incident was one that left the entire town in a state of shock and disbelief. It was as if the past had come back to haunt them in the most disturbing way possible. The discovery of the rusted vintage cars at the bottom of the lake was just the beginning of the horrors that were to follow. The first car that was pulled out of the water had the decomposed bodies of 3 teenagers. They were all huddled up in the back seat as if they were trying to seek comfort in each other's company. The second car was just a few feet away and it contained the bodies of 3 passengers. They were all found in the front seat of the car as if they were trying to escape from something. The teenagers had disappeared without a trace in the year 1970, leaving their families and friends devastated. No one knew what had happened to them until the discovery of the car. The passengers in the second car had gone missing a year earlier in 1969. Their families had never given up hope of finding them, but all their prayers were in vain. The medical reports confirmed that the deaths were due to drowning and were reported as an accident. But the circumstances surrounding the incident were just too eerie to be ignored. The fact that both cars were found in the same spot, despite having disappeared in different years, was just too coincidental to be believed. Many people in the town were now afraid of the lake as it quickly became a place of dread and horror, and one that they would never visit again. Which of these mysterious underwater discoveries did you find the most shocking? Let us know your answers in the comments below.